Hello friends, this is Jasubakuhatsu, and welcome to Let's Play Xardion for the Super Nintendo. Or I guess Let's Play Xardion again, I might call this? I don't know. Yeah, as some of you guys might know, this was actually the very first game that I ever uploaded to the channel here. The first game that I ever did a Let's Play series for. I decided to obviously redo it here just because I was just looking through the old series again, and it's pretty terrible. It's basically unwatchable. Main issue is audio quality, basically it's just terrible. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't recommend it. Just watch this one instead. I'll be sure to do a much better job of it this time, hopefully. So, let's see if that actually ends up being the case then. So yeah, this is Xardion. Kind of a neat little game for the Super Nintendo. A bit of an obscure gem. I don't know if I'd call it a gem, but it's certainly obscure. This is a game that I actually did play as a kid. I think once I rented it, and that's basically it. I didn't even make it very far in the game, but there's enough interesting stuff in the game that it really stood out in my mind for years afterwards. It's just I kept just thinking back to it. It's like, oh yeah, there was that one game I played as a kid where you were like a transforming robot that you could transform into 3 different robots, and they all had different special powers, and you could like kill enemies to level up and power up your weapons and stuff, and it was really cool. I would love to play that game again, but for years I couldn't remember what the game was called. I had no idea what the title of this game was, and so, I didn't know what to type into Google to search for information on it. I mean, I think I actually did try, like, SNES robot game, level up 3 characters, some sort of weird, crazy long Google search term, but nothing came up there either. But eventually, years and years and years later, or indeed, you can, if you want to check the exact date, you can go to, like, whatever the date was I first uploaded my first playthrough series of this game. I basically rediscovered the game like a day or 2 before that. And I decided, oh hey, I finally rediscovered this lost classic from my childhood. I finally get a chance to actually, revisit it now that I know what it's called. I can go download it off the internet and play through it and see how it holds up. See if it's actually, this as much of a classic as I remembered it to be. And to offer a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, for my old playthrough series, which I guess I recommended you don't watch anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it turned out not to be such a gem after all. This game is kind of terrible. Only kind of. Yeah, I'd say it's a bad game, certainly. But there's, like I said, there's enough interesting stuff going on here that I think it's, a neat game to show off, at least. And now that, for some reason, I don't know what it is. I find this game weirdly compelling. Probably just the sort of the air of mystery, I guess you could say, surrounding it for all those years when it was like... I just sort of built this game up in my mind for a really, really long time before I actually got the chance to, play it again and find out, oh yeah, maybe not that great after all. But nevertheless, that sort of build up in my mind is just sort of, I don't know, makes the game weirdly compelling to me, and for that reason, I've ended up playing it a bunch of times since my first Let's Play of it. So, and here I am playing it again, frick. But this time, so my first playthrough was a blind playthrough. Like I said, just sort of discovering the game for the first time, as it were. And, or I guess rediscovering? Yeah, rediscovering for the first time. And so this time through, I'm much more knowledgeable about the game. I definitely have a pretty good idea what I'm doing, how to get past all the tricky spots and whatnot. So that should be a much cleaner playthrough as well in my first playthrough. So let's go on to what the game is actually about. I think I basically described it in, describing my childhood memories of it. So you see me collecting all these items throughout the stage. That little orange ball I picked up there was actually a new weapon for one of my robot forms. You can see we've got our 3 different robot buddies we can switch between. Apparently, I guess that like the 3 ships that we saw in the intro combined to form these robots, which is actually a pretty cool idea. I almost wish that they had like an animation for the different robot transformations, even though that would obviously get extremely tedious very quickly, since or I don't know, at least probably your first time through the game, you'll probably end up transforming a lot, trying out all the different robots and seeing what they do. As it turns out, though, Basically, the only one you ever want to use is Triton. He's just the best, and he's the one I'm basically going to be sticking to throughout the game. And I'll go a little bit into why that's the case, I guess, as we go on. And I've also planned out, I'm going to be showing off just how terrible the other characters are as well. And yeah, speaking of terrible, this is the first boss of the game. This Arms, what did they call him? The mechanical life form or something? I don't know. Looks organic to me, but whatever. This attack here is basically your best case scenario, those rotating white circles. You get a good big long opportunity to hit him there, which is really what you want, because otherwise this guy takes frickin' forever to kill. Or actually what I should be... damn it. What I should be doing is using the little lightning bolt here. Really does a number on bosses. I mean, I guess it's not that much better than your regular attack, but still, every little bit helps. A lot of the bosses in this game can be super aggravating and take frickin' forever to kill. That one's actually not bad. Again, the lightning attack actually does speed that up a fair bit. The other characters, on the other hand, have basically nothing to help them speed things up. Triton here has pretty much all the best boss-killing weapons in the game, which is one of the many reasons why you pretty much want to be using him almost all the time. Actually, another reason... Oh, so okay. But with that being said, let's at least show off... You know, this is a Let's Play. Let's at least show off the things that the other characters can do. So yeah, we've got Alcides here. He's basically kind of your spellcaster. He's got a lot of screen-clearing abilities that are, you know, kind of neat in theory. He's also kind of a close-range combat guy. You can see he can only fire off one shot at a time, which kind of sucks. Makes him pretty bad for, you know, DPS at long range. But he's got this little melee, like, head tentacle whip thing, which is, you know, in theory, pretty good. You know, it's got a good... Actually, it got a good arc to it as well. Like, it covers a fair bit of distance above and in front of him, which makes it, you know, actually pretty useful throughout the stages, it turns out. The problem is that it's pretty bad for bosses, since, yeah, basically there's very few bosses in the game that you really want to be getting super up close and personal with. So another thing that makes him really good for the stages is he's got, like I said, a lot of screen clearing. Yeah, he's kind of a spellcaster type person, I think, is kind of, I don't know, his archetype that he's supposed to be following. So, okay, yeah, you see that there. Yeah, again, though, there's a problem with this concept, as there are... And, you know, it's a neat idea. You know, you have these three different characters with their own different abilities, different specialties. It's a really cool. I love the concept of this game, but the execution falls kind of flat. And you can see the problem here with this guy. Do I really want to be using a guy who takes, like, 6 seconds to clear all the enemies on the screen? Like, seriously, I could just blow these guys up with my regular attack and be on to the next part of the level in the time that it takes that stupid bull force animation to go through. So, like, in theory, and actually in theory, that would be a really good farming tool as well, to have, like, that big screen clearing attack. Because farming is kind of a thing that you want to do a lot of in this game. Or actually, let's go down here and show this off. Another kind of... I've been kind of ignoring the dialogue going through here, which is how... I mean, you kind of have to. Like, the dialogue doesn't really make a lot of sense. And yeah, the obvious reason for that being that, okay, clearly there's 3 pilots inside this robot thing, one for each of the ships, you know, that combine to form our little Megazord here. But you have no way to tell who's saying what. So it's like, oh, and that's the other thing. The dialogue is actually triggered by, like, these invisible points that you walk past on the screen, and it keeps on triggering them every single time you walk past them, which is pretty funny, even long beyond they're applicable. So it kind of gives you a sense of the level of programming competence that they basically had to work with for this game. Which is oh yeah, speaking of, oh yeah, so that was another thing there that I kind of forgot to show off just out of habit. Maybe I've played this game too many times at this point into muscle memory. That little thing I just blew up there disabled a barrier up above. There's no way to get past that. There's like a water wall up at the top there. And you need to destroy this thing to get past it. Your weapons don't work on it. You can't shoot it to blow it up. You've got to jump on it to blow it up. which makes absolutely no sense. There's not a single other thing in the game that you jump on to destroy. And indeed, this is actually as far as I ever made it as a kid. I could not figure out how to destroy that switch and deactivate the barrier, so I was just stuck farming this level and the previous one, just searching for... Because I think I had played Metroid by the time I played this game, so I figured, okay, there must be something hidden in the previous levels that'll actually get me past here, or let me destroy that thing, but there wasn't, because you just have to jump on the switch, which makes no sense. But, oh yeah, Panthera. This guy... Oh yeah, we picked up his first weapon as well at some point. So that'll be fun to show off. So Panthera is basically the only thing this guy's good for is that he's low to the ground, so he can, you know, crawl through tunnels like you saw in the first stage. And that's the only place you'll see that, because that's the only tunnel in the entire game that Panthera can take you through. And he's also low to the ground, which helps you shoot enemies that the others can't. Like, none of the other guys can destroy that thing, or I guess Alcides can kill it with his spells. So, and he's also got this... so his attacks are kind of all over the place. He's got this fireball attack, which, as you can see, is no stronger than his regular attack. His regular attack takes 2 shots to kill these things. The fireball attack takes 2 shots to kill these things. I mean, I haven't experimented a ton with this weapon. Although with that said, like, I have actually played through this game a few times, and in general, the optimal strategy... I mean, specifically, the optimal strategy in this game is, like I said, to always use Triton, just because he's the best. His ability to aim up is just indispensable. It's helpful in so many situations throughout the game. You'd think that the entire game was made with just him specifically in mind, which I imagine it probably was. The other characters, I don't know, just seem... They're good for so little. It almost seems like they were tacked on as an afterthought or something. Or maybe it was just bad design, who knows? Who knows with this game? Okay, this is another one of the game's wonderful bosses. This one's actually even less interesting than the first boss. He's got a very, very simple pattern, as you can see here. Although the one tricky thing is that he actually has 2 different types of projectiles that he can use. He's got the straight shot and he's got a homing shot, which he just used right there. The homing shot is actually just about unavoidable, except with a very specific technique you can use. Problem is that basically you go over to the left and then jump way up and way down, and your acceleration from falling will basically let you dodge it. That takes forever though, and doesn't really give you that much of an opportunity to hit him, since he's only vulnerable right after he fires. So basically what I like to do with this guy is just ignore the homing shot as much as possible. Like, just assume that he's never going to use it. And then once I'm on the verge of death, then we start getting serious, and I'll actually try to dodge the thing. So yeah, this is how you dodge the homing shot. And actually, that was a homing shot right there. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I guess like just the falling, like his accelerated falling just throws off the homing or something. Yeah, I've tried so many different ways to dodge that homing shot, and this is literally the only way I've found that seems to work. And as you can see, this is, okay, a terrible way to fight the boss in general. You get hardly any hits on him when you do it this way, but yeah, that's why I kind of play it dangerously in the first part of the fight, just to speed things up.